Wide receivers on the move before November 4th. Is it going to happen before the deadline, Steve? It is one of the most talked about positions each and every year around this time. We talk edge rushers oftentimes before the trade deadline. I think receivers come up a lot. And this is going to be an interesting one. It's not a robust market in terms of available guys, but I wanted to get your take on a couple of the guys that could be available. First, big picture. What is it like? I'm just curious. Maybe it's not a big deal. Like in the locker room when a guy knows he's on the trade block, and is it talked about? Is it discussed?
Well,
do people care?
It's not supposed. You do care. It's not supposed to be discussed, right? They always say, "Hey, keep it between you and I," and then your position coach also knows, so that just blows up the whole keep it between player and general manager when the general manager went and ran his mouth already to the position coach. So that happens. There is a shock when a guy's actually traded inside of the locker room, because we all know you can be traded, but when it actually happens to your teammate who's in the locker next to you, and now generally when there's a trade, there is some kind of transaction or movement to replace that individual, whether it's bringing up a practice squad player. And when that happens, they also bring in that new practice squad player if he happens to be defense. Or, some of the locker rooms now is all, player is no longer offense on one side, defense on the other.
They mix it up now.
Integrated. They mix it up. So it could be one day that's your linebacker guy, your teammate, and then now it's the new tight end they brought up who's over here next to you. It's a little weird. Not saying you don't like the new guy, but you're like, oh, where's my old neighbor?
Yeah,
my old neighbor. We had a little routine. Some guys used to carpool together, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because somebody has to pass this one, so it can be.
Yeah.
It can shock the system a little bit, but everyone knows it's part of the game.
Yeah.
It just hits you a little differently when it's now your teammate, your team, and now you're having to deal with it.
Yeah, mid-season's a little different than off-season, too. Teams are different year to year, for sure.
Yeah.
You're going to have a new room. But mid-season a little different. I feel like you're talking about your Ben Affleck and Good Will Hunting, and you're walking up to the door, and you're knocking, and he's not coming out.
He's not there.
He's not riding with you today. He's not riding with you ever again, man. Carpool days are over, Yeah. It's interesting. This position, the reason it comes up, and this is kind of what I do, is you can get third-round picks for receivers right now. Those are valuable picks. What you look at is teams that have new general managers, new regimes. Are guys going to be part of what that new group's plans are in the next season? If they're not on an expiring contract and they came in, they go, well, he's not going to be part of our next year. Let's get something for him now. Or he's going to be a free agent. Let's get something for him now. These are all the discussions that these teams are having behind closed doors in this week leading up to November 4th. And I'm curious what last year maybe does for this year's market. If you remember last year, there was a couple of big moves. Devontae Adams goes. That was the big cahoots between him and Aaron Rodgers. Hey, go in and just tell him you're not happy anymore. Really, they had it set up. He gets traded. And then also you have Amari Cooper getting traded to the Bills. We'll talk about the Bills a little bit further here because they could be looking at receiver again. That didn't work out that well, Steve. And my understanding is there's a little teams are going, well, those big trades didn't work out last year. And we gave up some capital. Should we do it again this year? That's kind of an interesting aspect of it. I have some teams that are interested in receivers. I want to throw them out to you, and you tell me what you think. Steelers looking at receivers, opposite of DK. I know they like Calvin Austin. I know they like what he brings to the table, but there are some things in terms of him that are limited. Do you think adding a receiver to this offense is beneficial, should be done, has to be done? And what skill set do you think they need to have?
Well, you already have some young players already.
You got Roman Wilson, too.
Roman Wilson, who came up with a big play, right? A really good big play. And he lacks a little bit of speed. Sometimes his game doesn't show up. He's slowly getting adapted to the NFL game. But Austin has been playing, I think, the best out of the young guys. But you also have to understand, it's not just an Aaron Rodgers thing. Mm-hmm. You see it with Joe Flacco, with Daniel Jones. Familiarity with your go-to guys based on what down and distance and what type of play do you need. Mm. And when that happens, the quarterback has a particular person that he's looking for in those situations. Now, integrating a new player mid-season, I'm not necessarily sure that's going to happen, because when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers in particular, his history, mm-hmm. he has the go-to guys that he prefers. Aaron Rodgers is the old man the old guy.
I don't think you're being inappropriate by saying the old guys.
Yeah, he's the old dog who his game hasn't really taken a step back with arm strength, so he doesn't have to learn any new tricks. He's going to go to the guys that he prefers to throw the ball to and what he excels or thinks that player in this offense can benefit, and that is DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
DK Metcalf is their go-to guy. And Freiermuth is starting to show and show Aaron like, yo,
yeah,
I need some attention as well. I don't think Freiermuth gets enough credit. I love the way he runs routes. He's always really made himself available and friendly to the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He's played with a lot of different quarterbacks. And so to have an upgrade to play with an Aaron Rodgers, you can see Freiermuth is really showing that it was a good move to keep Freiermuth and have him available for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron likes that whole tight end room, Steve. He thinks it might be the best tight end room in its totality that he's played with. Yeah. And they use a number of them as well. The reason I wanted to bring them up is Omar Khan is an aggressive general manager. He has made several moves already, right, with the Jalen Ramsey move, the Jonnu Smith move, and obviously getting Aaron. He has been very open about getting Aaron Rodgers everything he needs to try to make this run for 1 year. I don't know. The Steelers, I believe, would be open to bringing him back next year. That's going to be up to Aaron if he wants to come back for another season. But they've been aggressive in giving him everything he needs, the DK move, to make sure he's as successful as possible. My understanding, though, is whoever they're looking at, is it like Shaheed? Is it Chris Olave? Is it Jakobi Meyers? And we'll get through some of these guys, is it a distinct upgrade at the number 2 spot from what you have? That's when you make the move. And I think you're right. Calvin Austin has settled into that number 2 spot. Yeah, I think they like him. I think that's when you take a look at this team. But I know they're going for it. So is that is that mindset sometimes cloud what you want to do or force you into a move because I got this much time with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, look, if you're talking about Shaheed or Chris Olave, any of those 2 guys would thrive significantly. And let's be honest, it will be an upgrade at the quarterback position for those players.
Yeah.
I don't know which one would be better.
Okay.
Because Shaheed, he's a down the field guy. He's a speed guy. Mm-hmm. Can that work with Austin already being a speed guy, a little jitterbug? Shaheed is significantly taller. I think his route tree is still advancing, and because of the inconsistency of quarterback play with the New Orleans Saints compared to obviously Aaron Rodgers and what he's done with his resume, I see a Chris Olave benefiting more by going to the Pittsburgh Steelers just because he's a speed guy, but intermediate routes is really where he does his dirt. And I just want to see Chris Olave, be in a better position. So his health has really been an issue, and his health has been an issue because he's been getting thrown into the fray by the quarterback play.
What's the term of that?
I mean, he's running a blue tent ball. They're hanging him out to dry, throw him into the coverage, just doing things that I'm like, goodness gracious, he's a couple of bad hits away from really having to call it a season or maybe a career. And I hate to see a young player with so much promise have to go through that. And it's not to his doing; it's the lack of around him. So I'm concerned about Chris Olave. If he remains in New Orleans, will that be a good fit for him? I think not. Shaheed, I think he's starting to get put in a box again because of lack of consistency in quarterback play. Both of these players will help whomever they go to. However, if you get rid of both of them, or one, it significantly hampers whoever remains because now you don't have someone to play Robin, or Batman. It makes it, you limit this offense where it's already limited already.
Yeah, man, I remember when we were breaking down the first couple of weeks of last season when you saw both these guys just thriving downfield and both these, in that Clint Kubiak offense that's doing its thing up there in Seattle. Wow. And the reason, Steve, you're bringing up both these guys, Olave's due, he's going to have his fifth-year option next year, but they'd like to work out a contract with him. It seems more likely he stays in New Orleans. He'd be obviously bringing back a lot if they were going to trade him. It seems like he's the less likely. Shahid's a free agent after this season. Yep. And we know that number keeps going up for receivers. So paying both of these guys probably seems maybe difficult for New Orleans. And so maybe that's why you see one of them possibly.
So here's the thing. Yes, it would be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But
you're not paying the quarterback.
What'd you say?
You were going to say, but you're not paying a quarterback.
You're not paying a quarterback. But I have to stop and pause myself because to effectively get the most out of whoever you re-sign, you got to put a more consistent quarterback. So that tells me that they will go probably in free agency and try to get a quarterback and not try to get any draft picks, a draft pick.
Well, they could, if they see a quarterback they love at the top of this draft coming up, they could do that.
But here's the thing with these quarterbacks. A lot of these quarterbacks that are at the top of the draft, they're at the top of the draft because the need of quarterback. It's not because
pushes every quarterback.
Yes,
we had six go 2 years ago.
Right, it's not because it's just an outstanding quarterback class when you look at over the last couple of years. I believe that this quarterback class is actually the guys that are leading the quarterback class, you can't really say they're finished products and a guy that steps in and you can really see that this guy's going to elevate our offense.
It's early too, in the process, right? For sure. But you're right. You're right. There's another receiver there before I move on to a couple other guys. Does Brandin Cooks at 32 have anything left? There's some teams that are sniffing around. He would, I think, break an NFL record for most traded player ever. Mm-hmm. If this does he have anything left at all, Steve?
He does have something left. He's older, so you're not gonna see the same Brandin Cooks or the Archer that we've known to see, but he still has the speed. He still can run really good routes. The question is really going to be, how does that team that you're on, how do they value and see where you go? Are you traded to a team? See, here is the craziness of being traded in the middle of the season. When you have the offseason, you get to build and kind of play around with the new acquisition, right? But when you get traded in the middle of the season, the team is saying, hey, we need this player, and we're going to plug him in here.
And he needs to start producing now.
Yes, and sometimes that's hard. We saw with Devontae Adams last year.
And he knew the quarterback, Steve.
He knew the quarterback.
That's what his best friend.
Yes, but it just because you know the quarterback, man, there are small little things that you just don't factor in. It's like, man, oh yeah, man, my routine is completely different. and I'm catching up. Yes, I may be staying with a roommate or a guy who's familiar.
Yeah.
But you have to get acclimated to everything, right? And so that takes a little bit of time. So
what is that like? Tell me that you picture yourself. You're with a team, like mid-November. You walk in now or beginning of November. You walk into a new building. They hand you a new playbook. What is that like as a receiver? Because there's a lot in terms of timing, chemistry, verbiage, everything. What's on your plate now for these guys when they get dealt mid-season?
Well, there's a little bit of dialogue and conversation amongst that team and the offense.
Okay.
And the agent of the player. Because they want to know, well, what kind of offense are you running and where do you see me playing? Mm-hmm. Because you go to a team and you're playing Z. And mid-season now you have to learn X. And those are two different responsibilities with muscle memory and just mentally where Z, you go to the call, X, you go opposite of the call. So that's a small, minor detail.
No, but that's what the Bills did with Amari Cooper last year.
Yes,
they took an X and made him a Z when they picked him up in Buffalo last year.
And that is not always going to work. Because they're just different responsibilities in every offense. And it's unfair, but it's part of the job. You got to adapt. You got to learn how to figure out the new program in which you signed up for. They're going to give you a little bit of time, but you don't have time.
No, they made the trade. They gave up capital.
They made the trade. We need you now.
Trying to make a push. Yeah,
we're trying to make a push. Figure it out. This is your job, right?
Exactly.
So,
is there a lot of? Do you spend extra time?
You got to spend extra
after
time
practice, right?
You're
living in the
extra
facility.
time out of practice. You're spending extra time flashcards, getting the verbiage, because sometimes one word will tell everybody what to do, and if that one word, right, a comeback in some offenses it's called a blaze, or in some offenses, a dig is a comeback. Right?
Yeah.
A dig is a deep curl. Well, a dig, offenses I've been in, is 16 or 18-yard in route. Mm-hmm. If you're playing a tight end position, it's a 12-yard basic, with generally something flowing underneath or under, so you have the high-low to put the linebacker in the bind. Now you go to another team, and they're telling you one word that tells you this small little word, this small little letter or two letters, acronyms, are telling you that's a basic.
Why doesn't a receiver come and put on a wristband like a quarterback?
Because you look like you're an idiot. That's why.
I knew you were going to say that.
And nobody wants to look like an idiot.
No, nobody wants to look like an idiot. Real quick, Cooks, I will say Mickey Loomis is the type of GM, though, where if you're at like the point in your career, like Cooks is, 30, like, do you want to go play for a contender? He will kind of acquiesce that kind of thing. He has a great communication with his guys. He did it with Alvin Kamara, where Alvin told him straight up, yeah, if you trade me, I'm going to just retire. So don't trade me. I want to stay here. But he had that conversation with Alvin. He does have guaranteed money, Cooks, by the way, next year as well, which might complicate him getting moved. You mentioned kind of the moves that could happen midseason and guys that have to change where their spot is. Yeah. Maybe the hottest name out there is Jakobi Meyers. He wanted to get traded this past offseason. It didn't happen. He's owed, I think, about 10.5 this year.
Pay the man.
He didn't get the new deal. It is kind of against Pete Carroll to kind of rip things down. Much more something Pete does after the season. But if they can get something for Jakobi Meyers, what would a team be getting in terms of the player? Some of these that are looking for receivers, whether it's Buffalo or New York or Pittsburgh or maybe Denver. I don't know. We'll see. What would they be getting in Jakobi Meyers?
Does Denver need any more wide receivers?
I think what's happening in Denver, real quick, is everybody outside of Denver thinks that they need a receiver, and I don't think Sean thinks he needs a receiver. Like, I think he likes the three guys that play that number 2 spot, whether it's Troy Franklin or Pat Bryant or Marvin Mims, opposite of Quote said. He likes having the options between them. They could be looking at tight end. I don't know. Yeah. But what would a team be getting in Jakobi Meyers, Steve?
Well, with Jakobi Meyers, he doesn't get a lot of credit, but he does an exceptional route runner. Very smart, knows how to, change the pace, sinks his hip. He's a hell of a wide receiver. He'll be a great addition to your wide receivers room. Mm-hmm. He's not a great addition to the Las Vegas Raiders because the Las Vegas Raiders are pretty much a walking disaster currently right now, and you can't with Kelly being offensive coordinator. Man, it's just really showing what he was able to do in Ohio State.
Let's go.
Was rare because he's back to being the Kelly that we know, who's really smart but does a lot of dumb things offensively on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and the focal point of their offense has been out in Brock Bowers. I mean, that plays a little bit of a part of it.
But here's the thing. You still have to have some game plan with the players you have. Now, with Tyler Lockett coming into the fold, potentially signing there, that makes Jakobi Meyers expendable very quickly. And the reason why is because Tyler Lockett is going to, one, he's not the Tyler Lockett that we known him to be in Seattle. He still has a lot left in the tank. Mm-hmm. But Tyler Lockett does a really good job, intermediate, kind of making himself available for sneaking around. He's tiptoeing, sneaking around the defense, kind of finding those zone pockets to sit in and be that possession receiver. And the quarterback is very familiar with him as well, Geno Smith. Mm-hmm. So that's where it all kind of flows together, where Jakobi Meyers seems like he is the odd man out. And we also know with Pete Carroll has run every organization he's been, college, NFL. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to be here, we're not going to hold you back. We don't.
How quickly they cut ties with Christian Wilkins at the beginning of this season.
Yes, we don't want to hold you back. If you want to thrive, go on thrive then. There's the door. Just the way it came in, sayonara, it can go out.
Yep. I think Jakobi Meyers could be a good addition for him.
I think he'll be a great addition.
Yeah,
but he'll be a great addition if you keep him at the position he's at. Don't try to come in here and make him play a different position, because that's not gonna. I don't think that will go very well.
Yeah, let him work intermediate, let him work in traffic, let him do the things that he's good at. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think Calvin Ridley's on the move. I think they're obviously the Titans are open for business. They're making moves. Yeah, they're rebuilding everything. But I don't think they want to my understanding is it's more on the defensive side of the ball, because they don't want to make Cam Ward's season just absolutely abysmal.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So maybe
he's not going to take.
Maybe
he's a young leader, and he understands his role, and he's taking on that role as a young quarterback. He's not going to be very happy if you continue to get rid of the playmakers to make this game competitive.
Yes. That and the contract are two reasons why I think this might be a stretch. But I wanted you to just tell me, because he's signed that $92 million contract in 2024. He's got guarantees going into 2026. I think the Titans would have to eat some of that money if they wanted to do something. But is he?
He going Buffalo's. He going.
Is he? He is kind of when I talk to people, Steve, though, a polarizing type of player. Some people think, ooh, man. And other people go, ooh, man. Yeah. So I don't know if he has a market per se.
He does.
But he does?
Has a market.
Okay.
You know why?
Okay. Why?
Speed. Coaches cannot figure out how to stop biting on the speed bug. They put so much emphasis. We talked about this, I think, a couple of years ago, me and you, when I talked about Calvin Ridley, of what type of football player he is. Calvin Ridley we all know he can run. Mm-hmm. That's never been an issue. When he was with the Atlanta Falcons, you saw some glimpses when he was getting the opportunity to watch Julio Jones. He excelled. Then he had that issue with the gambling. He had some stuff off the field, not to his doing, but that his family experience was tough and traumatic. And I definitely understand, and that was, I believe, is allegedly, right? His house was robbed with his pregnant girlfriend was still at the home. And that just was a lot to bear. And for anybody, right, that would be. Then he goes to Jacksonville and he shows that he can play. However, when Christian Kirk got hurt, he had the responsibility now of adding to his plate of what type of wide receiver he can be. And they learned very quickly, Jacksonville,
I remember
that he was not able to line up as a true number one all over the field. You couldn't give him too much responsibility. And the gig was up on Calvin Ridley of how to slow him down and neutralize him. And by doing that, you put these paws on him. He doesn't have the ability to create his free access to get off the press coverage, get off jam, and really still running and operating in his business. He has. That is why when the Jacksonville Jaguars had the opportunity to keep him, they were willing to keep him, but not for $96 million because they said, hey, for $96 million, yes, you look really good, and that looks good on your agent's, payment plan.
Portfolio.
Your portfolio. But for us, hey, man, we know exactly what you can and cannot do, and it does not deem $96 million. We'll pay you, I'm just throwing out, we pay you 70, we give you 62, but 96.
Yeah, they made an offer, but there wasn't anywhere near that.
Nah. No. And when the Tennessee Titans made it at 96, they said, thank you. Got a compensatory pick now, and they're thriving. But the Tennessee Titans now are figuring out the very thing that Jacksonville
Steve,
was like, hey.
Who's there now? Is it the same guy who did the contract? Or is it Mike Borgonzi who came from Kansas City? Now
it's the new guy.
It's the new guy. He didn't do the deal.
And so but even though with a new guy, if you can play football, and they're going to keep you. They're going to say, hey, we have to keep some people around from the old regime who can help us win. Calvin Ridley, unfortunately, right now gets MIA. He gets on the old school missing. He gets missing. I mean, on a carton.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen Calvin Ridley? He's about this high, date of birth, right? Last seen in a Titans uniform with cleats on. That's
last seen on the team bus.
Yeah,
I get it. Listen, I do know that's what they're doing. I've talked to people in Nashville where they are trying to figure out who is a player that has the makeup of what we're looking for moving forward, Steve. They're evaluating all those guys. And I've been told there's guys that are on this roster that group that came in are going, I would have never drafted this player. We would have never signed this player. They do not fit what we're looking. So that's what they're doing in Nashville. Maybe that's part of it. Real quick, last guy, I do not think he's getting moved, but what would Jaylen Waddle bring to another team? I know, obviously, Miami is in the position that they're in. He's owed $36 million over this year and next year. That's actually not a lot, the second half of this year and next year. He could fit in several offenses, couldn't he?
Yeah, he can.
But I think he's part of...
He plays X.
Yeah, he could. I think my understanding is he's going to be a part of what they want to build moving forward, even if they tear some of this stuff down. Tyreek Hill's future, obviously.
You said
if they tear this down?
If?
Well, they were in a soft rebuild before this season.
That's cool. They was in a soft rebuild. That thing hit a major speed bump. They no longer in a soft. They in.
Well, guess what? You're in a rebuild. I don't want to throw this at you. You know how much money Tua is guaranteed next year if you want to rebuild this?
How much?
$54 million. Guaranteed.
Is that a lot of money?
That's a lot of money.
Whoever's
coaching it, whoever's coaching it, whoever's playing it, you most likely got Tua there in 2026. But
you do have Tua there in 2026. But when a new regime comes in, as soon as he throws his first pick or things are not up to snuff, that coach is gonna say, "Oh hell no, it ain't me. It's Tua."
Well, he gets a year to say that, I guess.
Yeah, he's because you ain't blaming me. My offense is great. It's the reader of the offense that's holding us back.
And that's the difficult part.
That's what new regimes do. That's how you buy yourself more time. That's how you throw a guy under the bus. stab him in the back. All the things that you want to talk about in betrayal, that's what a head coach with a new team does on a new team with the old regime.
Yeah. Listen, this is an offense exactly built for Tua specifically. I don't know if there's an offense that caters more towards one player really than Mike McDaniel's done to those two. It's gonna be fascinating if there is a change of coaches. But Jaylen Waddle, real quick, he would be the belle of the ball if he was fully available. I would assume Miami listens, but I don't think they're really looking to move him. But you do want to hear if somebody's willing to, give you a call.
Man, if you get rid of Jaylen Waddle. Man, you will see a faster decline of Tua's offensive ability because with that cap number, you have to now try to get a bargain player, but you want grade A production. That helps us transition into our guy and the Buffalo Bills. They need a wide receiver who can stretch the field and get off press coverage because
go to the channel, find out our breakdown on the Bills and what's going on with Keon Coleman and their boundary wide receiver issue. All right.